Do you know how many women walk through the world without realizing just how extraordinarily captivating they are? And no, I'm not just referring to physical appearance. There is something infinitely more powerful than that. I'm talking about that subtle essence, that unique way of moving, observing, expressing, and manifesting oneself that can leave a man completely bewildered, even if you don't notice it yourself. The most fascinating thing is that you often undervalue it. You believe that because you don't fit into a certain established beauty standard, you can't possibly be that alluring. But what truly captivates us goes far beyond a slim waist or flawless makeup. It's that silent confidence, that authenticity that cannot be faked, that vibration you emit when you enter a space without even having to say a single word. Today I want to reveal to you the clearest signs that you are far more attractive than you realize, and that men, even though we try to hide it, absolutely notice and experience deeply. Some of these signs are so subtle that you might not even have realized how impactful they are, but believe me, we do. Stay until the end of the video because the 9th sign is one of the most overlooked by women, but for us it's one of the most irresistible, I guarantee it. After watching this content, you will start to see yourself from a completely different perspective. Sign 1. Men get nervous around you. This is one of the most genuine and at the same time most underestimated indicators, because often when a man acts clumsily, avoids direct eye contact, or even seems slightly uncomfortable, you might interpret it as a lack of interest. But in reality, the exact opposite is happening. He is more fascinated by you than he can handle. Watch closely. When a man is attracted to a woman who dazzles him, his body betrays him. He starts doing things he normally wouldn't. He touches his neck, adjusts his shirt, crosses and uncrosses his arms for no apparent reason, or he starts speaking faster than usual, or more slowly because he's afraid of messing up. Sometimes he even falls silent, as if he doesn't know what to say. And it's not because he lacks personality or is insecure. It's because your presence throws him off balance. Because there are indeed women who don't just attract physically, they impose. Your beauty, your energy, your attitude can make even an experienced man feel out of his depth. What I'm trying to tell you is that this discomfort is a powerful sign. If you notice that when you're around, a man who is usually relaxed becomes tense, changes his posture, or seems more focused on what he's doing than on what he's saying, believe me, you're having a deep effect. And most importantly, don't dim your light to make him feel more comfortable. On the contrary, embrace that power. Because if a man gets nervous around you, it's because he sees you as someone worthy of much more than a trivial conversation. Sign 2. People glance at you repeatedly, even without saying anything. This might seem basic, but it's one of the strongest and most underestimated signs. When a woman is truly attractive, even if she doesn't notice, the environment registers it. You might think you're just walking by, entering a cafe, or standing in line. But from our perspective, something about you draws attention. It's not just someone looking at you as you pass. What's truly significant is that second look, the one where they've already passed by, but turn their head to look again. Do you know what that means? It means that something about you left an impression that couldn't be satisfied with just a fleeting glance. That second look is the most sincere way a man, or even other women, confirm that there is something extraordinary about you, and it has nothing to do with whether you're wearing something flashy or are meticulously styled. Sometimes it's simply your way of walking, your posture, your calm yet magnetic energy. It's something that isn't forced but can be felt, because true attraction isn't declared, it's sensed. Many women don't notice it because they're focused on their tasks, on their phones, or simply on reaching their destination. But if you've ever noticed that when you pass by, someone looks at you twice without saying a word, believe me, that is an unmistakable sign that you possess something impactful, something inexplicable, yet evident. And yes, sometimes we want to say something, but even just that second glance already confesses more than we realize. Sign 3. You underestimate yourself, yet constantly receive compliments. This is one of the clearest and most paradoxical signs that you are far more attractive than you believe. Has it ever happened to you that on a day when you personally don't feel particularly beautiful, someone still tells you that you look incredible? Or you receive comments like, "I can't quite pinpoint it, but there's something about you that fascinates me." That's not a coincidence. It's a resoundingly clear sign that you emit an energy that captivates others even when you don't notice it yourself. And this is quite common in authentic women who aren't obsessed with being perfect, but who unconsciously awaken something in others. Maybe you think that your hairstyle isn't great that day, that you don't have the ideal body, or that your outfit isn't anything special. And yet, the compliments still come. Why? Because your attractiveness goes far beyond what you see in the mirror. As men, we notice that. Sometimes we don't know how to explain it properly, but we feel it. There's something in your voice, in the way you speak, in how you laugh, in the naturalness with which you move through the world that makes us think, this woman has no idea of the impact she creates. And believe me, that is one of the most magnetic things there is. What's curious is that the contrast between how you perceive yourself and how others see you actually makes it even more powerful, because you're not trying to impress, you're not forcing anything, you're simply being yourself. And that authenticity, combined with a natural feminine energy, creates an attraction that's hard to explain but impossible to ignore. So next time someone tells you that you have something special, instead of denying it or brushing it off, believe it, because that something is you. Sign 4. They seek you out for insignificant reasons. This is a classic that many women don't notice. When a man feels attracted to you but doesn't know how to approach you directly, he starts looking for any excuse to interact with you. And often these excuses are about trivial, seemingly insignificant things, like asking if you can help with a particular task, needing you to explain something, asking for a recommendation, or requesting a small favor. On the surface it seems casual, but believe me, it's not. We men, when we feel attracted to a woman, look for pretexts to start a conversation, to get close without making it obvious that we're openly flirting. And this especially happens when a woman intimidates us slightly, simply because we like her so much. We won't approach you directly with a compliment, but we will show up asking you about any trivial thing just to have you nearby. And it's not just a one-time occurrence. If you notice that it's recurrent, that this person always finds a reason to text you, call you, approach you, or stay close to you even for minimal reasons, there you have a very clear sign, because what they're asking for isn't what really matters. It's the underlying intention. Very often you might not even notice it. It seems normal to you, maybe even charming, but if you observe carefully, you'll realize that those little things are merely excuses for something bigger. Their need to be near you, to connect with you, to capture your attention. So next time someone asks you for help with something they can easily handle themselves, pay attention if it's also accompanied by a nervous smile, a different tone, or an intense look. Because sometimes a simple, "Hey, how do you do this?" really means, "I don't know how to approach you, but I want to be near you." Sign 5. Women criticize you without any real reason. Yes, I know, this part isn't pleasant, but we need to address it honestly. Because when a woman is truly attractive, not just physically, but in her presence, her way of moving, her energy, not everyone around her will react positively. And it's not because you're doing anything wrong. In fact, most of the time you're not even trying to stand out. Yet you might still notice that some women look at you strangely, make passive-aggressive comments, or criticize you for things that honestly don't make sense, as if anything about you was too much, too confident, too beautiful, too polished, or even too friendly. And I want you to understand this, that unjustified criticism isn't about you. It's about how they feel when you're around. Because your attractiveness can cause other people, especially insecure women, to look at themselves more harshly, and that involuntarily triggers a reaction. Have you ever had someone call you stuck up when you hadn't even said a word, or noticed someone trying to compete with you over something you weren't even interested in? There you have it. This doesn't mean all women will react that way. Many, on the contrary, will admire you, be inspired by you, or want to be close to you. But when you start to notice unfounded criticism, uncomfortable looks, or comments aimed at diminishing your shine, don't take it personally. Consider it a sign that you are shining brighter than you think, because your energy, your presence, your way of being can indeed make those who aren't secure in themselves feel uncomfortable. And even though it isn't fair, this is also one of the clearest signs that you are very attractive, even if you haven't fully realized it yet. Sign 6. People smile at you without knowing you. Has it ever happened that you're walking down the street, at the supermarket, or on public transportation, and suddenly someone, especially a man, gives you a smile without any apparent reason? He doesn't say anything, he doesn't know you, he's not even trying to start a conversation, but he smiles at you, sometimes shyly, as if he's embarrassed that you noticed. Other times with more confidence, almost as if saying, "Wow, what energy this woman gives off." And even though it might seem insignificant, it's not. That smile reflects what you project. Because when a woman is truly attractive, and again, I'm not speaking solely about physical beauty, it radiates, it's sensed. There's something in her way of walking, of looking, of simply existing that naturally draws people in. And that magnetism causes many men, without you even speaking a word, to feel the impulse to smile at you. A kind of silent greeting, a silent, "I like you, but I don't know how to approach you." And it's not a coincidence. It's one of the most subtle yet most genuine signs that your presence leaves an impression. Because a spontaneous smile cannot be forced, it emerges from the body involuntarily, and that is a direct reaction to the energy you unconsciously emit. So the next time someone smiles at you without any apparent reason, don't dismiss it, don't ignore it, because you're likely not trying to draw attention, you're simply generating it without even meaning to. Sign 7. Men in relationships look at you more than usual, and I know this point is delicate and not necessarily something you'll like, but it needs to be mentioned. When a woman is truly attractive, her energy does not go unnoticed, and occasionally, even men who are already in stable relationships struggle to avoid looking at you. I'm not saying that it's right or that you provoke it, but it happens, and it happens more often than you might imagine. You're at a gathering, walking down the street, at a cafe, and suddenly you catch that look, that lingering gaze that lasts a little longer than it should from someone who is clearly not available. And although they often try to hide it because they know they shouldn't be doing it, their body betrays them. Because attraction isn't always controllable, especially when it's triggered by something beyond physical beauty, something deeper that is felt. And here's something important you must understand. It's not you deliberately causing those glances. It's your essence, your presence, your way of being. It doesn't mean you should feel uncomfortable or much less guilty. On the contrary, it's clear proof that your feminine energy is powerful, magnetic, and hard to ignore, even for those who are supposed to. Sign 8. You receive a lot of attention on social media, even without showing much. This is something many men notice and something you often don't fully realize. You post a casual photo, no exaggerated poses, no revealing outfits, no attempt to seek attention, and still, the messages come in, the likes multiply, and the reactions don't stop. Does that sound familiar? And you ask yourself, what's so special about this photo? But it's not about the photo, it's about you. When a woman is truly attractive, she doesn't need to show off to make an impact, because what captivates is not just what is seen, but what is transmitted. Your authenticity, your gaze, your natural way of being, all of it generates a vibration that even crosses the screen. And believe me, men sense it. In fact, some even fear it, because they don't know how to handle so much feminine energy in such a subtle form. The most interesting thing is that many of you don't even realize it. You believe you need to do more, show more, produce a more curated image. But your real power lies in your natural way of existing. It doesn't matter if you appear wearing a basic t-shirt without makeup or simply sharing moments from your everyday life. That attention you receive without even trying is one of the clearest signs that you are far more attractive than you think. Sign 9. Men get confused around you. This is one of the clearest signs, but also one of the most misunderstood by women. Surely it has happened to you. A man treats you with a lot of attention, as if he's very interested. He seeks you out, talks to you, compliments you, and then suddenly, as if nothing happened, he disappears. He pulls away, but after a few days, he comes back as if nothing had ever occurred. Confusing, right? You ask yourself, is he playing games with me? What does he want? And here's the reality. Many times he's not playing, he's struggling. Yes, struggling with what he feels. Because when a man is truly attracted to a woman, especially when he perceives her as exceptional, that attraction can overwhelm him. He may feel intimidated, unsure of what to say or how to act. So he pulls away, not because he's not interested, but because he's too interested. And here's the catch. You might think he's not into you, when in reality, he's trying to figure out how to approach you without exposing himself too much. Some men run away because they don't feel good enough. Others come back once they gather the courage. But in either case, they're revealing the same thing. There's something about you that unsettles them. So, next time a man pulls away for no apparent reason and then comes back as if nothing happened, pay attention. It's not always emotional confusion, sometimes it's pure attraction. He simply doesn't know how to handle. Sign 10. You don't realize your own power. And this is the most powerful sign of all because something happens more often than you think. The most attractive women often don't know it or don't believe it. They move through life doubting themselves, comparing themselves, questioning whether they measure up, when in reality, they are the ones making the difference. And let me tell you this from a male perspective, it shows. It shows when you walk into a room without trying to draw attention, and yet you do. It shows when you speak simply, without trying to impress. But you end up impressing more than anyone else. Do you know why? Because you're not trying, you're simply being. And when a woman lives in that authenticity, it carries extraordinary power. But here's the key. When you don't recognize it, that power remains half hidden. It's like having a light on, but covered with a veil. When you start to recognize it, not out of arrogance, but from a calm certainty of your own worth, something shifts. Your body language, your energy, your gaze, everything aligns. And believe me, it's felt. It's felt from far away. So if any part of you still doubts the energy you radiate, remember this. Your power doesn't start when someone else sees it. It starts when you accept it. Sign 11. Your absence is noticed even more than your presence. Let me explain that there are women who, when they walk into a room, immediately draw attention. But there are others, and you are probably one of them, whose absence is even more noticeable than their presence. It's as if something dims in the atmosphere once they leave. That warm energy, that natural way you have of making everything flow, suddenly it's gone, and we feel it. And maybe no one says it out loud, maybe you don't even notice it yourself. But believe me, when a woman is truly attractive, it's not just about what she shows, it's about what she makes others feel. And when that presence is no longer there, the contrast becomes obvious. The conversations change, the energy cools down, and without really knowing why, we find ourselves thinking about you. That's what makes you unforgettable, because you don't just arrive, you remain in people's memory, in their skin, in their thoughts, sometimes without even trying, sometimes without even knowing. So if you've ever noticed someone watching you as you leave, or if someone later messages you saying, "Hey, you left," don't ignore it. It's another way of saying, "Your presence moved me." And that can't be faked. It's something you naturally carry. Sign 12. Silence with you isn't uncomfortable. It's intense. Listen closely because very few women notice this, but we men definitely experience it. When a woman is truly attractive, there's no need to fill every second with words. Her mere presence generates such powerful, enveloping energy that even silence becomes magnetic. Has it ever happened that you're with someone and suddenly there's a silence, but he doesn't fidget, doesn't get distracted, doesn't check his phone? He just stays there with you, as if he doesn't need anything else. And that's no coincidence, that's pure attraction. It's not that he doesn't know what to say, it's that he's processing what he's feeling about you. Maybe he doesn't express it, but internally he's thinking, why do I feel so good just by looking at her? How can someone impact me so much without even saying a word? That comfort in silence, that effortless intensity, can only be caused by a woman who radiates something far beyond the physical. A woman who transmits serenity, depth, mystery, and who, without speaking, is already communicating so much. So if you notice that there are silences between you and a man, and yet he doesn't walk away, doesn't get uncomfortable, doesn't rush to change the subject, it's because your energy is already speaking for you. And when that happens, believe me, you've already won him over without even trying. Now, I want to know something. How many of these signs have you noticed in your everyday life? Has it ever happened that someone looks at you in a different way, or that you receive attention without understanding why? Tell me in the comments, because I'd love to hear your story. Sometimes what you don't see in yourself, others are feeling intensely, and sharing your experiences can help you recognize that power you carry inside you. If this video helped you see yourself from a new perspective, if it helped you understand that there's something about you that doesn't need explanation or approval, then don't leave without liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. Because here we're not just talking about superficial things. Here we talk about energy, about presence, about that magnetism that can't be bought or faked. It's felt. Never underestimate what you radiate. Your way of walking, your way of looking, your very way of existing leaves a mark. And often, while you are questioning whether you're enough, others are already longing for the chance just to get close to you. So yes, you are already much more than you think. And this is just the beginning. See you in the next one.